I've been experimenting with how to like noise remove and mix the podcast. Last week's wasn't super great, so I apologize about that, but I'm getting better.
You know what? I just noticed it's always louder. It's always louder and it always sounds better. So I'm always like, sounds good to me.
I think it's
always
an improvement.
Louder and always better.
Always sounds better. I'm always like, it sounds better than what it was.
I just wanted to constantly get louder.
No.
I want just
every week, droning, 1 decibel.
Yeah.
Until it's just a brick of noise.
All right,
We all aspire to get to the almighty brick.
I'm gonna go.
Podcasters.
I'm going live.
All right. What I didn't expect and really should have thought about is that now that we're recording 3 separate tracks, it basically triples the room noise if you just mix them all together.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah. Actually, Criken, your room is astoundingly quiet.
I'm sure it is. Compared to ours,
great.
Lawrence? Man, ours is the worst.
That makes me feel good. Should I try to make it louder for you?
Yeah, if you could. That would help with the brick. Project Brick is what we're going to call it.
Brick.
Yeah, it's... Criken, I don't know what you did, but your audio is astounding. It's very very good quality and also super isolated.
Wow. So. Well, consider me charmed for this podcast. You get a +1 to all charisma rolls.
Yes!
Anything that you say towards me.
That's how you do it, Bruce. You got to work the DM.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, who's the DM? Oh, that's right. Yeah, Criken's the leader. I forgot.
Wait, the PM, the podcast master.
No, I relinquish my title, and the first one that says mine gets it for today.
Mine.
What?
I don't know. I wasn't sure what to do. Am I supposed to say?
Nobody wanted it.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't really necessarily want it, but
I was gonna try to trick you, Bruce. I'm gonna be like, give me your best Finding Nemo seagull impression.
Mine.
There it is.
Come on,
okay,
Criken. You don't know the seagull impression, Criken?
I know. Just a kind of a weird thing. Like, it seems like an obvious joke that you're setting up. But hey, I'm sorry. I expected more of you, Lawrence.
Criken,
Criken
always says that. He always says he expects more of us. But then when I play games with him, like play Sea of Thieves, he's like, "Yar, I'm a pirate. Yar, 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 yar." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. I know you're a pirate. There's never any spin on it. It's just a pirate."
Is it bad? Oh, yes, there's spin on it. Last time I played Sea of Thieves, I was a fish. Remember?
He wasn't, Lawrence. He never did or said anything that it was a fish. He just called himself a fish.
I was a fish that became a pirate.
I kept trying to role play with him, Lawrence, and it didn't work because he wouldn't do fish things.
I didn't know I was a fish. It's part of my backstory, and the fact that you kept ignoring that is frankly power game.
So wait, hold on. That last thing you said was very important, Criken. You were role-playing a character that forgot their entire backstory?
My character
it's not fair because then I have to fill it in.
Yeah, then that's not a character at all.
I told them all going into the show, my character is a fish but doesn't know that they're a fish. So please work with me on that. And they all said, okay. And then Bruce kept saying, oh, but you're a fish. And then my guy would go, what? And that was...
And then the bit ends.
Yeah, that was the literal end of the bit. Because I was like, yeah, you're a fish. Don't you remember? And
would you believe the first person that tells you you're a fish?
Here's the thing. I told you over the course of 4 hours like 10 times.
I know. It would probably take 10 times to finally sink in that you're actually a fish.
Did it sink in eventually that you were a fish?
Yeah, it didn't change my roleplay, though. I was just a pirate.
Damn it!
I had a new identity.
Criken!
Criken! You son of a bitch! I didn't do this! Oh, shit. Oh, okay, this is not an ad at all, but you get 6 months of Spotify for being in Game Pass? I didn't know that.
Wait, really? If you do Xbox Game Pass, you get 6 months of Spotify?
I guess so. It's right there. Oh,
that's a really good deal.
Cool. Xbox. Hey, speaking of Xbox, how about that PlayStation 5, huh?
Well, hold on.
Unreal.
Let me scroll down to the video so we can play it.
Man, Lawrence cannot wait to jump into that game talk.
I love video games, dude! This is why I'm here!
Game talk is awesome.
If I'm gonna be honest with you guys, due to my crippling self-esteem problems, if we're not talking about video games, I feel not validated. I feel like I'm floating in the ether, like a fish that forgot his backstory.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say a fish. I knew it.
Yeah, it was just going there, wasn't it? Anyway, yeah, we don't have to. I don't know, Criken. You want to talk about what do you want to talk about? Wait, no, Bruce is the PM. I'm sorry.
I've got the video up. We'll watch it. Let's watch it. All
right, let's watch it.
So here's the thing. I've only covered a little bit, so I wanted you guys to sort of talk more about it because I watched just tiny little snippets of it on Twitter, but I never actually watched the entire video, and it looked great, but it didn't look like anything that I was like, does this advance like PC gaming? Because PC gaming is already pretty far ahead. So I don't know. And go.
Yes. The answer, Bruce, is yes.
Okay, all right.
The world done changed, my man.
All right. Why?
Oh, Criken, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the engine would apply to both PC and PS5, and assuming the next Xbox generation too. So like, the engine itself is the announcement. Like the PS5 footage is like, oh, the hardware can run something that looks this good.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I think depressing, but it's not that all PS5 games look like this. It's like, oh, Unreal 5 looks like this, and the new PlayStation can run Unreal 5.
Yeah, I mean, Unreal 5 we all knew was coming.
Yeah.
But
it just looks heckin' sweet if you look at it.
Yeah, no, also, I mean, and it always does. These tech demos, especially Unreal, has always looked great every time they come out with a new engine. But I mean, but I guess it sounds like the announcement was more that the PS5 could do it. Is that the big deal?
That was my read on it. I mean, yeah, since this is a tech demo, the other thing is like most games will not look like this, just because obviously tech demos, all of their effort goes into making it look
right,
like vertical slice style, much better than anything else. But then you'll get the few kind of ones that have incredibly long development cycles and have the ability to, like a Red Dead or something like that. So those will look like this,
right? I'm
sure,
right.
But in general, yeah, I don't know. What's your take, Lawrence?
Well, Criken, you're absolutely right. And tech demos don't have to be games, because if you look at the tech demo, like there's some parts of it that could be a video game, but there's a lot that can't, just because like UI and like there's times where like things pass in between the camera and the player, which is really disorienting if you're actually playing the game. There's just a lot of things that can't actually be gameplay. It's also just like a really pretty hallway. So it's not a video game, it's a tech demo. But Criken, to your point about how like devs may not have the time or the focus to create such pretty blinking lights and all that. The tools that they talked about in Unreal Engine 5 are actually super exciting because they're more geared towards the developer workflow and how they can... There was a lot... I remember there was a ton of hand-wringing when we went into Gen 7, which is like Xbox 360, PS3, about how exponentially more expensive games were getting to make in HD because you had to hand draw everything, you had to hand make everything, you had to do all the lighting. And it's sort of like, whenever TVs went in HD, suddenly newscasters had to worry about their makeup a lot more because they didn't have the fuzz of like CRT to kind of wash everything over. Similar deal with video games. When it's in HD, you had to have high-resolution assets, they all had to look really good, they all had to play well together, you had to have all this geometry, and it all had to be sculpted by hand. What's really exciting about the two techs they talked about with Unreal 5, let's hear, it was Lumen and Nanite.
Cool.
That sounds like a Minecraft block.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Minecraft because Nanite sounds like it's pretty inexorably tied to like what voxels tried to be. So Lumen is just global illumination that's free, basically. I won't get too much in the weeds on that, but essentially it just means you can point the sun at something and it'll actually bounce around and propagate light in the space without a bunch of fine tuning. All you have to do is position the intensity and the direction of the light, which is super, super fast. Also, you don't have to like rebake all the lighting every time you change a light source, which you typically have to do.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what they described. And then the other thing, Nanite, was that basically they found a way to use like cinema quality assets and port them directly into Unreal, and then Unreal will automatically determine LOD scaling and stuff like that.
Wow.
So you bring in, to kind of put it in, I guess, more appreciable terms, you bring in like a 3 billion poly model or something like that, you drop it in, and the engine will automatically scale it to 2 million poly or something even less than that based on where it is and how visible it is.
That's, I mean, I guess in like other terms would be, flying into the atmosphere of a planet. So from far away, obviously things aren't loaded in detail, but the actual planet looks good. And the closer you get, the more detailed the actual like land or clouds or environment would actually get. And it sounds like it does that to some degree on its own. You can kind of just go in and like scale it, because that was a huge limiter of a lot of games in the past. Like entire, companies were built around their new technology of being able to do something like that. So for that to be packaged within Unreal is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I guess to kind of simplify it, you're totally right, Criken. Basically, there would be a full poly version of, like, let's say a character model that has maybe 3 million polygons in it and it looks really good. But you don't need all that detail when that character is like in a crowd of NPCs or really far away. So then developers would have to take that version of that model and make increasingly simpler versions of it, so that the game engine had like a low, medium, high quality to cycle in and out based on how visible it is. Apparently, Unreal Engine 5 does that all the time, automatically, algorithmically.
Well,
so developers no longer have to make multiple versions of the same asset. They just throw it in, and the engine does it all.
I love that, but also, can I say that I'm actually more excited for the art that will come from a computer algorithmically de-resing a person, because that means we get like, the nice model, and then like 5 stages of like, loading away, it'll like reduce them to like the 6 polygons, like ghoul that like has its face stretched across like a 360 around its entire head. I'm excited for those. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
I keep seeing Pencil Fluke in Lawrence's chat say, because they're a game artist, and apparently Pencil Fluke saying it lets developers spend more time on the art side of development versus the technological and logistical side of it, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's true.
That's fantastic.
That's a lot of, that's real. I hadn't even thought about that. So basically, that means they're taking. I could see this as posing a problem for some engineers who specifically work in building art tools, because it seems like they're trying to make that packaged within the program on its own.
Right.
It's great for artists, because now it means that when hiring a studio, you can hire more artists than you were going to hire engineers, specifically relating to the art, the engineering of art tools.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that actually affects any studio's like team size and stuff. Also, my follow-up question was, how is this going to affect Unity? Because Unity and Unreal have been rivals for so long, and obviously Unreal, after Fortnite, I feel like has had an enormous step up. I've been wondering what Unity is going to kind of pivot into, because they've always been kind of like the indie bastion. But yeah, after seeing this and seeing that now they're only making it easier to make really high quality looking games.
Well, there was the other big announcement that Unreal will not take royalties on the first $1 million of revenue for any game.
That's insane.
That's another huge indie swipe of being like, you get to keep all your money up to $1 million. That's
something that like Lawrence and I have been talking about for years when it comes to Epic, because Epic, now that they're making billions of dollars on Fortnite, they're trying to like, pardon the phrase, pay it forward to the developers, because they're like, hey, you know what? We're making tons and tons of money now, and now we can extend these courtesies to you guys through whatever it is, the Epic Game Store, or now their engine, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's fucking cool. I know everybody hates Epic, but I think that's rad.
I agree. I also think that's the nice way of thinking about it. I think the more cynical way of thinking about it would be that they're trying to eat up all the market share. Indies,
of course,
I think,
they are. That's what business is. That's what you do.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if it's quite as like kind of magnanimous as like we want to.
It's both.
Give back.
Yeah, it's both.
To the. You think? Okay.
I think it's both. And that's what I thought with the Epic Game Store. It was like Epic Game Store was like, we're going to give you a bunch of free games and all this other shit because we've got a ton of money to spare, basically. But also, it's going to eat away at market share. That's what, in my opinion, that's just good business, because then they're making.
I agree.
They're making it there's a huge advantages for developers that people want to make games. And also, like Lawrence said, they get to keep the first $1 million. To me, that doesn't seem like a lose-lose for the developer. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
No, it is a win-win. You're right.
I don't know. Lawrence, what do you think?
The only concern is that it just, when somebody has that much momentum and then they parlay it into more momentum, it basically means it's impossible for anyone else to compete. Which, that's kind of that's bizarrely the space Unreal is in right now, is they're competing with like Steam in terms of digital distribution. In terms of engines, maybe competing with Unity. or internally made engines because publishers don't want to pay any money on the games they create. So it's interesting because like with terms like that and tech like that, I don't know how any company can come just out of nowhere and be like, yeah, we can offer something more competitive than that. That's the only thing that's like it's kind of scary because like you could argue like if people say endlessly we need a competitor to YouTube, but how? Like how can anyone even remotely compete with what YouTube has because they've been able to funnel Google money into it for a decade?
Well,
so
you're right. You're totally right, Lawrence. It takes years. It's like what happened with Valve and Steam, because like once Valve and Steam got some momentum, no one could beat them. That was it. It was over.
Yeah, and it's just like reinvesting into momentum. I think is the way to put it.
Yeah, well, but then it took Epic releasing the biggest game of all time basically in order to
you need that lucky break.
Yeah, to even start to think to overtake Valve, which is crazy. So
yeah, which is why I guess I'm curious about Unity's role in all this, because I think competition is good. We're seeing that Valve has competition from Unreal now, but now Unreal doesn't have competition from Unity. So, I guess we'll see. But from what I've seen, it looks like they're pulling ahead pretty substantially. So, either Unity has to pivot and make itself a new thing. Some people were saying in chat that Unity is still, used primarily for 2D games, which is true. Unity 2D is, I think, better than Unreal in terms of the tools it has. But like, I don't know, that feels like a small market share to like, we're only going to be the game engine for 2D games. And even then there's like tons of other options like Game Maker and, a bunch of other stuff. So.
Yeah. Who makes Unity? What's the company is it just Unity? Is it their own company or?
I don't know if they have a parent company.
Cause what are the major engines, Lawrence? Like, I know that obviously there's Frostbite, like IdTech.
Yeah.
But there's
Frostbite, IdTech, Unity.
Those are all proprietary though, right? I mean, like Frostbite's EA, right?
Yeah, a lot of those are owned by a studio and only used by that studio for their games. The ones that are open to other developers is like Unity, Unreal, Game Maker, and the rest
RPG Maker.
RPG Maker is another one. Yeah,
that's the big one. I mean, and that just makes business sense. If you're a publisher, you want to keep as much of your money in your pocket as you can. Right. That's why EA has their own digital distribution apps. Why Ubisoft does, because if they can sell it through that storefront, they don't have to pay Valve 30%. And then like there's just tons of bites of the pie. Because if you're licensing your engine too, then there might be an agreement where they get 10% of all revenue, and it's just slices keep getting chopped off, and then you're not left with much money in the end. I'm curious though. Forgive the pivot of subject matter.
Please do.
How do you, because we were kind of discussing the business implications of it all. How do you guys feel as gamers about this? Because we had the like Series X showcase, which I was into just for the variety of software on display. I was like, cool, this is just kind of a sampler platter of what to expect in the next year or two. But this is more like, okay, here's maybe something a little closer to the transformative experience we typically expect from generational leaps. Do you guys feel like you're excited for new consoles now, or just? I know that we are all a little more PC focused, but are you excited for like? Because when new gen consoles come out, the kind of tech spec for all games sort of gets punched up a bit. Has this made you excited for the next 5 years of video games?
Sure.
Criken? Oh yeah, I mean, I'm like Criken, where I'm like, yeah, but the thing that I watched, because I watched this and yes, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm super excited about all the back end advantages for developers, but to me, I don't see anything that looks like it looks like an iterative step and not necessarily an exponential step. And to me, the only exponential step that I have seen so far in video games is Half-Life Alyx, in terms of VR, because that in my opinion was actual innovation on a platform that hadn't really seen any innovation yet, really. So unless there's something in this tech demo that I am totally missing, and by the way, I'm not a developer, obviously. This is just me watching gameplay and being like, yeah, it looks fucking awesome. I can't wait to play it. But to me, it's like press triangle. All right, cool, got it. Press triangle, got it. Yeah, I mean, like I know that works, and it will look great when I play it, but it won't necessarily be the transformative experience that Half-Life Alyx was for me. Boneworks too, same deal, because it's basically the same tech. But yeah, so it doesn't look anything like an exponential leap. But that's okay. I mean, like, that doesn't bother me. I'm still excited to try it out because it's going to look awesome. I don't know.
I think that's a good, take. I think the only thing I would say is that, like, this presentation was entirely art focused versus, like, Alex is more, medium being VR and mechanics and physics system focused. So it's hard to tell, like, the physics system possible than Unreal in, like, this pre-rendered video. But the way that the art has been rendered and the way that they are describing how that pipeline goes, I think that is pretty game changing. In terms of, like, if it is as, prepackaged as they say, we could see a lot of games pulling this off. So at the start of the podcast, I said, this is great for a tech demo, but don't expect other stuff to look like this. If a lot of what they said is true, theoretically that could start to go the other way. Again, we don't know how easy it is until developers start releasing games of their own on Unreal 5. But I think it could lead to a whole new, set of games. I also would love to see this in a more stylized tone, because this went for, like, realistic-ish with, like, a little bit more fantasy, vibe. But I want to see what, like, you can do with, like, stylized art in this sort of engine. It'd be really cool.
Lawrence, are you excited?
I am. I agree, Bruce. I agree with what a lot of you said. Is that this demo? I mean, I think this demo was for developers, right? So yeah, a lot of what they talked about, Criken, to your point, was, I think, meant to take the heart attack away from making 4K games for devs. It's like, hey, don't worry. We're making tools to make it so you don't have to hire an entirely other department just to manage the flow of assets. So it is possible that with a 200-person team, they can still make games that still punch up to that production value. I think that, yeah, the demo itself, though, you're right, never use technology in a gameplay sense. To the extent that they even have the, like, turn to the side and inch through a narrow space to let the textures load in the next room.
Yeah.
We're supposed to not have that anymore, right? That's the whole point of solid states and everything, is that you don't need those unreal hallways of, like, the 2 fingers to the ear and the slow walk to spool up the next room of textures. So that was odd to me. And then the final sequence, the flying, could theoretically be like texture streaming coming really fast. It's supposed to be what that is, but there's no way that's gameplay. Not even theoretically is that gameplay, or unless it's like just a hold up to make cutscene play sequence. So that's kind of where my head is at. Is like, yeah, I'm really excited to see games that look like this, but I'm still sort of kind of like Bruce, like you said with Half-Life Alyx, still waiting for the game that uses that technology to make an entirely new gameplay type or gameplay experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm reminded of the game that was that for me when we went up to HD was Dead Rising, which actually hit pretty early. But that was a game that had, like, tons of AI zombies that relied on more computational power. And it used that cloud of AI people as a gameplay mechanic. Navigating around these huge swarms of brain-dead zombies was the game. So that was like, okay, we have this new tech, let's use it to create a new kind of game. I mean, it's still survival horror or whatever, but yeah. So I'm curious what that's going to look like on next gen, or what kind of game we'll get that uses it in a more novel way than just there's no loading screens anymore, which is still fine. But I've been on solid state on PC for a while, so that's rarely been an issue.
The rumor was for this, and it may not even be a rumor, it may be true, that this was playable. It's supposed to be playable at GDC, but GDC didn't happen. So this was an actual video game. It's not necessarily only cinematics, but it is absolutely a tech demo. It's a 10-minute tech demo, so you can play through that, which is cool. But it's not a 7-hour video game that is exactly this. And I'm sure they'll get there. That's they're probably already doing it with specific titles. Maybe not Last of Us 2, but like the next generation after that, or Uncharted 7 or whatever. So it's cool. I don't get me wrong. I think this is, again, more for developers. Just like when PS5 did their Mark Cerny 7-hour talk, like that was for developers too. That wasn't for us. Like that was for people to be like excited about developing. It wasn't for the game playing public. So I'm excited. I mean, I think it looks great. Yeah.
I'm curious if/when Sony finally does their more like consumer focused PR stuff. I'm wondering what that'll look like. Sony tends to be pretty austere when they do like stuff. So maybe it'll be like a state of play thing where it's just they show off 4 or 5 games and that's that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what those are. Who knows when that's going to hit, man. There's something about like, and maybe this is another discussion we can get into, but I think we're starting to see the effects of what an E3 less summer looks like, which is that on given days we just wake up and there's a shiny present on the internet for us. It's like the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater thing. They're like, hey, let's just announce it. Fuck it. Kind of the same thing with Unreal Engine 5. It's all of these announcements that probably would have been stacked up in like blog posts that have 18 hyperlinks all going to stories that you barely have time to read. Now you have like a whole day or two to kind of savor some video gamey thing. Oh, that's kind of neat. I don't know that it necessarily is, it's obviously not the same as gorging yourself on video game stuff for a week. But I like this. I don't mind this.
I do too. I also think we're seeing a lot of semi missteps from marketing. So like the Xbox thing where they're like, we're going to show Xbox Series X gameplay, and then everybody watching was like, what the fuck? There's no gameplay here.
Wait, I missed that entire thing. Can you like catch me up in like?
It's a bunch of 3
minutes.
It's a bunch of games you'd never heard of, and they showed. I mean, I think maybe there were 1 or 2 games in what was it, 10 or 12, maybe Lawrence, that they showed. That 1 or 2 where they showed a few seconds of gameplay, and it couldn't. Yeah. It may not have even been gameplay. It may have just been in-engine stuff. So it was a bunch of just random shit, and it didn't feel like. And I was like, why are they doing this at 8 a.m.? And then I know why. Because it was kind of like their first foray into it, and a bunch of people just were like, there's no gameplay here. I don't know why they did this. So I think they've learned that lesson now. And maybe Sony did to a lesser extent with the Mark Cerny talk.
Oh my god, that's actually fascinating. So you're saying...
I mean, Killzone 2 a million years ago.
Right.
That was Sony's gameplay thing.
So both Sony and Microsoft tried to do their own press conference because E3 isn't a thing now. And like... just didn't know how to message it to the public and didn't know the tone to take with it?
I mean, so normally what they would do, like Lawrence was talking about, is they'd cram all of this into one press conference. So they would have an hour and a half to talk about all of their technology and all of their, and then all of their business and all of their video games. But now they can roll it out however they want. And they're probably thinking to themselves, this is great because we can just drip feed it to the audience and the audience will just eat it up. Well, no, that's not what happens. Because they used to have to be, they used to have to optimize their press conferences, and they don't have to do that anymore. Now it's just like, here's another video. You fuckers will eat it. So,
it was about an hour, right?
Yeah, it was about an hour. Yeah, I watched the entire thing.
Criken, it's worth watching. Just
it is. Yeah.
If nothing else, then it's just a showcase of kind of more AA tier games coming out in the next 6 to 9 months, because we're in a kind of a weird no man's territory in regards to releases right now. Like, we know some of the fall releases, there's like Cyberpunk and Valhalla, but we don't know all the big stuff. Like, we don't know what Call of Duty's coming yet and stuff like that. I don't know why my mind went there. Usually they announce it around this time. So everyone's sort of holding their cards on next gen, because I think everybody's waiting for everyone else to announce timelines so people can start figuring out when things are going to come out. So it's worth watching just to see a bunch of games get announced, because it's been a while since that's happened. But yeah, it's not a lot of gameplay, like they said. And it's certainly not the best first look at their next console.
It really isn't, and to me, it just reeks of, again, these companies, both Microsoft and Sony, are going to be like, oh, they're going to love this shit because it's just it's new. We haven't shown anything, so they're going to love it. And that's not what happened. So they, if they had come out, I wish they'd come out strong with their first, because now everyone's going to expect something bad the second time around. So
I feel like, Bruce, to what you were saying about Sony, like, they did their PlayStation 5 video in lieu of GDC, which we can assume was more targeted for developers. I feel like Microsoft Showcase was more targeted for their third-party partners.
Yeah.
Of being like, hey, we're actually going to promote you guys this time around. Like, look at it. We made a whole video just showing non-Microsoft games, okay? So to that regard, I feel like that was kind of the point of that showcase, why they would label it gameplay. And I don't know, maybe they felt like this whole conference isn't tuned enough or won't interest. I don't know what the thinking was on that. But to me, that whole thing felt like more of a play to make their partners happy and have faith in the Microsoft or Xbox ecosystem.
Yeah, and then,
than it was to convince people to make a purchase.
And then marketing got a hold of it, and they're like, "Well, how are we going to market it?" And they're like, "Well, it's the first Xbox Series X gameplay, right? So let's do that." And then they put that out, and everybody got upset. So, Lawrence, I think you're totally right. I think that's what initially it was intended for. But if they hadn't marketed it and instead just been like, "Hey, this is just for our partners. These are games that are not AAA titles that we're going to release on Xbox Series X," it would have been way better. Versus, first gameplay of Xbox Series X, where everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, Halo Infinite!" It's like, no,
right?
Not anywhere near it. So, I don't know. It is really interesting to see all these companies trying new things. Whereas Nintendo, I saw somebody in my chat say like Nintendo's had practice with the Directs for years, so they've gotten better and better. I mean, I don't remember what the first Directs were like. Do you? Does anybody?
I do.
Oh, you do?
They weren't great.
Yeah,
I remember them being pretty good right off the bat, right?
Really?
Am I wrong about that, Criken?
I swore they were like, I guess maybe it was in lieu of having an E3 presence, and so that kind of colored the perception of it. But I seem to remember the first ones being a lot of talking and not a lot of showing, and then they've gotten better and better at that. And they've like had more fun with it. I think it was like really official and like kind of corporate feeling originally, but the later ones have felt more like in universe and playful.
Coming for you, Bruce.
I'm almost positive there is a literal car chase outside of my window, because I heard helicopters. I've heard now, I want to say 10 sirens drive by my house. I am pretty positive there is a real life Los Angeles car chase going down my goddamn street.
Let me check Twitter.
Jeez, fucking man. Just all the fucking time over here. Anyways.
I follow a Twitter account specifically for tweeting out car chases in Los Angeles.
Yeah, no, I know you do. I know you love car chases, Lawrence.
They're so good, man. This is such an LA thing. I didn't know before I moved here. But yeah, live broadcasting car chases is an LA staple.
Absolutely, yeah. It totally is.
Damn it. All's quiet over here. Maybe they haven't picked it up yet.
All right, well, maybe.
Yeah, there was a nice car chase last night. Some dude was buzzing around the valley.
Maybe it was just, maybe a cat got stuck in a tree. I don't know. Who knows? You never know. You never know in my neighborhood.
Do those tweets, Lawrence, end with like, and then they got him, or like, what is the arc of a car chase on Twitter?
There's some pretty fierce editorializing from whomever runs that account for sure.
Really?
They'll basically, they'll provide running commentary about how stupid the person is, and like if they pull into a dead end, they'll just be monstering on them on Twitter until they get caught. It's pretty great. I appreciate that the person involved seems to enjoy the chase as much as all the viewers do, which I hope you would have to to run an attentive account like that. Is that a rug?
Yeah, that's for outside.
Oh, okay.
It's an outdoor rug.
Stephanie just carried in a giant tube of fabric. And I'm like, what?
Oh, new rug.
I don't know what to expect anymore. Yeah.
I'm gonna wash my hands. We're back.
All right.
They're coming back. Coming back on you.
Yeah, I don't... Have we seen anything from the next gens that has made it exciting? I mean, I certainly don't know.
That's a good... Not yet. I mean, apart from maybe the Unreal Engine 5 demo or just flying through the world of Spider-Man very quickly, we haven't really seen the like system sellers or the showstoppers yet. So, not yet, no. But, I'm a sucker for it, so I'm always excited to just plunk down a bunch of money and buy a box that I won't use for a year or two. Because that's kind of what next gen always is.
It is.
But yeah, I don't know.
It totally is.
I'm mostly excited because like the way things are now and with the way Microsoft is supporting multiple platforms, I know that like I'm gonna get to enjoy all that stuff on PC anyway, which is awesome. And then for PlayStation 5, who really knows what their launch titles are going to be? I feel like Sony, correct me if I'm wrong, Sony platforms always take a minute to get off the ground. PlayStation 2 didn't launch with much.
Did 4?
PlayStation 3 didn't launch with much. 4 launched with, what was it? They had Killzone Shadowfall. It was pretty solid. Resogun was fun. Was Infamous Second Son launch, or was it close to launch? Because that game was sick.
Yeah,
I like that game a lot.
Was it The Order launch? The Order 1886?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was basically their version of Rise. I wouldn't say 1886 was like a...
Oh yeah, Rise. I forgot about Rise.
Oh my god. That was the Gladiator.
Yeah, on Xbox.
Oh boy. Yep.
Yeah, it had Knack. So
Knack.
it was,
Oh,
yeah, it was- yeah, Second Son was launch window. So like I remember for the early days of PS4, like I actually really enjoyed Killzone Shadowfall and Resogun, and that was basically all I played. And then the PS4 gathered dust until Second Son came out. Played through that, and so I don't know. I guess for me it depends if PS5 is going to have some backwards compatibility stuff. I really like the way Microsoft does it, where you download an original Xbox game on a One X and it runs at 1080p 60.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm excited to see when the Series X comes out, how like Xbox One games or even 360 games will look. I remember every time I would get a computer upgrade, I'd re-download Crysis and see how it runs now. I think that'll be a fun thing to do for like the first night of the Series X. But man, apart from that, who knows? Who knows what those systems are going to be doing?
What's the problem? Like, I don't understand why they can't develop good launch titles for launching consoles. What is it?
The hardware is up in the air. You have to make a number of very fundamental design decisions about games 3 years before they land.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So a lot of next gen games will just sort of kind of target something and pray that the actual system is somewhere near there, and they can make a bunch of educated decisions. But if they're off on anything one way or the other, it just doesn't land right.
Yeah,
Either it looks like crap, and
millions of dollars, that you you miss.
I mean, the dev tools are in infancy, and you just don't know anything.
Someone brought up Breath of the Wild. I mean, that's a bit different because that is a first-party game on a first-party console. So there was already full knowledge of what was being developed.
Well, that was launch.
Both hardware-wise.
It was launch, but also
and it was cross-platform.
That's right. It was cross-platform, and it was also Switch. Switch is kind of trash.
It is cross-platform.
It's kind of a trash system in the sense that like no, I'm not talking about the gameplay. I love this. I play Switch literally every day, but I'm talking about in terms of its tech specs. It's not like something that is like super revolutionary. Sorry, Criken, it's not. It's like it's a 720p. It's a tablet. But
but it has a good game.
I like unbelievable games that I constantly play. But
have Animal Game, Bell, Turn Up.
Did you remember Animal Game Turn Up, Bruce?
Yes, Animal Game Turn Up. I played almost every day since it's come out.
Me too, Bruce. And you don't like it?
No, I said I like it a lot.
Bruce.
Breath of the Wild is probably my favorite game of all time.
I'm sorry, Bruce. You are canceled.
But the Switch, in terms of technologically, is not a crowning achievement for anybody. So yeah, I think that's probably why they were able to hit Breath of the Wild in terms of launch. But hey, it was really smart on Nintendo's part. Yes.
I disagree.
Okay, yeah.
Fundamentally.
Yeah, please.
I just had to dismantle my Switch to repair it, and there were so many wires in there, man. You have no idea.
Wait, what?
There's all kinds of chips.
What'd you have to do?
You wouldn't believe, dude, how many wires they fit in that thing. That thing is complex.
There's so many wires, bro.
Wait, what did you have to repair it?
So
what happened? I
am still living with the ghost of trying to work out aerobically while holding Switch Joy-Con. So Criken, I don't know if you ever were given the full story, but for a while I've gone through phases of like, this is how I'm going to get skinny and ripped, and one of them was Stephanie got a Peloton, which if you're not aware is a way to ride a bike but also spend a lot of money while doing it. So I would go in there and not use. Well, I did find a way to like get like Twitch running on the stupid Peloton tablet because it's just an Android tablet. Anyway, I found out that if you can wedge the like Switch tablet part into a little portion of the bars, and then I would just bike while like playing Octopath Traveler on my Joy-Con, and sweat would roll down my arm and get into the contacts where the Joy-Con's supposed to click in and sync to the Switch tablet. So it actually corroded the contacts, and then after a while, it just got to where it would not like register that it was docked anymore. It got to where it wouldn't charge anymore. Or worse than all, it would just sort of spotty, like click in and out, which was real fun trying to play Smash with a Joy-Con that kept disconnecting.
Oof.
So, like over the past year or so, as my Switch has slowly degraded in functionality, I've had to dismantle it all and replace the parts a la carte.
Wow.
Yeah, luckily you can buy OEM parts like through eBay from China pretty cheaply. But most recently, the worst part of all kind of fundamentally broke the left rail on the tablet side. So I had to basically take the Switch itself apart, yank out everything, because the left rail cord is this ribbon cable that goes under everything. So that's real sweet. So yeah, I got really drunk on Saturday and took my Switch apart.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you get drunk before doing it? Why not drunk?
I don't know.
It's after.
It sounded more like he got drunk and decided to take the
Oh,
Switch apart.
maybe that's what it was.
I'm going to take my Switch apart. Let's get drunk.
Maybe-
It was.
What was it, Lawrence?
Oh,
Yeah.
no. Now my Switch is taken apart.
It was basically that. I was like 4 cocktails in and I was like, it's time!
Oh.
Because the part had shown up that day too.
Got it.
So it was a harrowing ordeal. I took it apart, reassembled it, and then it didn't turn on at all. So that was a pretty low moment. I had to dismantle it all again, check all of the ribbon cables, because like I said, there's a lot of wires in there. A ton of wires. You wouldn't believe the next-gen wiring they did. And then it turned on, but the rail didn't work. And then I had to like mix and match parts from my previous rail with the new rail. Now I have for the first time in about 2.5 years, I have a fully functioning Switch.
Really?
The Joy-Cons,
You pulled
they
it off.
connect. I can wiggle them back and forth in that dock, and they don't disconnect. I can play Animal Crossing undocked outside whenever I want. So that's exciting. Anyway, long story short, man, there's a lot of wires in there. And chips. Both wires and chips.
Both wires and chips?
Yes,
You told
yeah.
me they made this thing with wires and chips. They didn't pick one or the other?
They got them both.
They got 'em
somehow.
both.
They got them both.
I have-
Well, Bruce, I hope you're proven wrong that this is actually a huge step forward for consoles.
I suspect that if you dismantled any Android tablet from the last 10 years, I think you'd find a lot of wires and chips. No joke.
God, if you could.
Both of them. So I think you'd find both of them. No?
I'm gonna put my decades of experience down, not dismantling Android tablets, and say probably just one or the other.
Okay.
I bet you pop that open, and it's like a storage bin of Christmas lights. It's nothing but wires. That's it.
Yeah, it's powered by magic.
Just a big knot of wires and hair. Wires and hair. That's all that's in an Android tablet.
Well, guys, we figured it out. Lawrence has proven me wrong. The Nintendo Switch is truly a next-gen console that you know what? I feel ashamed and embarrassed that I would ever say such a thing as that it is basically just a reskinned Android tablet.
Whatever happened to that Switch Pro we were supposed to get?
Oh yeah, whatever happened to that Switch Pro? Why didn't we ever get that?
We got the Switch Lite. Does anyone remember that?
We got the Switch Lite, and then we got the base Switch model with a bigger battery. So I think maybe that was the Pro that somebody just took and ran with and didn't really understand.
That's bullshit. I mean, not that it matters. They're selling Switches for $600-$700 now because they're all sold out and you can't
Oh, yeah.
you can't
No,
find
it's
them anywhere.
insane. Yeah.
I just paid.
I got one for my. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I just paid like $350 for a Switch Lite.
Oof.
Yeah. What about you?
I got a Switch for my my parents, and luckily I had someone I could buy it off of. But yeah, it was tough going. They were going for like 2 times the price of the actual Switch.
Crazy. And I don't know if the Nintendo even makes that money or not. But
Oh no.
Oh well, no, they get the original sale. They don't.
Yeah,
get
that's it.
They don't get the markup.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. I will say it is a great game to send to your family. By game I mean Animal Turnip Game. They love it. And I have had many years trying to convince my family to try games even once, and they all just like, that's just his thing. He plays those video games all day. You know, he does this thing. That's not what we do. We're civilized folk.
yeah.
And I was like, trust me, try the Animal Turnip Game, and you will love it. Because we played the one on GameCube when I was a kid. Yeah, even like my mother has like become completely enraptured by the idea of like improving this island. She loves interior decorating, so she's like really gone hardcore into it. She's been like texting me about like turnip prices, and told her about turnip exchange, and earlier this week she actually used it.
Oh my
She went
gosh.
to a stranger's island
Oh,
and like
no.
sold her turnips and everything. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So I'm really proud of them for dipping their toe in the water. And now they're like, what other games are like this? And I'm like, yes. So I'm
Give
starting
them
to
the Stardew Valley
pass out
crack
some other
cocaine.
recommendations.
What do you think is level 2 of your sinister plan?
Breath of the Wild. I think.
Wow, you're going right to Breath of the Wild.
For my sister. My sister
Okay,
would appreciate
alright.
that. My mom, I think Stardew Valley would be up her alley.
Or maybe like Terraria or something like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Terraria. I feel like
Golf Story? I don't know. I got to play Golf Story all the time.
I don't think I ever played Golf Story.
Yeah, what's golf?
Yeah?
What's golf
Oh,
story?
man.
What's that?
Golf Story's amazing. So Golf Story, it's about golf. It's a deeply like comical kind of open world RPG, except it takes place in a world where everything has to do with golf. So like every problem someone has can be solved with golf somehow. And they do a really good job kind of working that into the narrative and being silly. So it had Anthrax Bees is correct, which is also a great name. It's kind of similar to Mario RPG in terms of it's like tone, and I think it was even made by the same devs as an old Mario RPG game, like Brownie Brown, maybe? I don't know. I'm getting that. Anyway, I don't know. I kind of throw that out because I feel like it's base humor, and it's like its art style is pretty appealing to people, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that was a big derail.
No, it wasn't. I mean, like, I had never even heard of Golf Story, I don't think, so that's why I'm...
Just Galfin. That's all you got to do. Some references no one's going to get. I'm sorry.
Criken, much to... very similar to your story, Autumn just bought her mom a Switch and Animal Turnip. And,
Great.
I know, and I get to discover how she gets addicted to it. I think once you've decided... Like, basically, once you're looking for an island to sell your turnips, you're officially stuck in Animal Crossing.
I admit I definitely sped that along. When I first visited them, when they had like just tents, I was like, and here's 100 turnips. If you check with Tom Nook, you can sell these for a pretty penny, but the price changes twice a day. And they're like, okay. And they like went and they checked, and they're like, oh my god. And they were back and they're like, we made 10,000 bells. And I'm like, yes. Now save that money. And
I
on
knew you
Sunday,
would
buy
tell me
more.
Are you trying to convert them to be little like turnip farmers for you?
Oh no, not for me. I've put plenty of seed money into their stock farm.
Seed money.
Yeah, but in return though, they've sent me occasional furniture and things they think I would like. I got my first jail cell bars from my mom, and I was like, thanks so much, Mom. I actually need this for my island because I'm making a pirate ship. So I have like a little jail cell.
It's called a brig, Criken.
Oh my god. Actually, no, it's off. We built it into the cliffside, and it's where I store my loot. All right, it's my hidden.
I was gonna say, which
hoard.
animal do you keep in the bars? Which one are you racist against? That's what I was.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
pretty
I would
sure
have to be racist against all of that animal.
you're probably racist against Rizzo, aren't you?
I could dislike a specific animal.
You cannot.
And not.
No, you can't. All animals are created equal.
Okay, I meant villager. I can dislike a specific villager without hating all squirrels or something, right?
I don't know about that one. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, okay. So do you love every single villager on your island?
Every single village, even Rizzo.
Of course.
Even Rizzo the rat.
Who the heck is Rizzo?
Rizzo's a rat.
The rat?
And he's kind of a dick, but I do like Rizzo.
Let me look him up.
He's
Rizzo
he's sort of a
the
dick.
rat.
All my
That's just a Muppet character.
yeah, it basically is.
Oh yeah.
No, it
Isn't
literally
that the one
is.
that,
No, I know
He
it
like
is,
ice
I know.
skates on butter. I remember him.
Yeah.
Oh, I do not like Rizzo. The design is that their hair is also a mustache. What the hell?
It's not like I said. When I met him and he moved in, I went fuck. But I got to know him, and he's nice. And I was like, okay, Rizzo, I've moved all of my villagers to the Venice canals that I made on my island, but I didn't move Rizzo. I left Rizzo on the other side of the island.
So then you're the worst offender. I have not done the thing you're describing. This is just a you thing that you've put on me.
It sounds to me that you're putting villagers behind bars, and that's...
No, I have my gold bars behind bars. That was what I said. You heard I put villagers behind
You're
bars.
wrongfully imprisoning
Oh, no.
Other animals, yeah.
Oh crap!
That's what it sounds like.
I just remembered.
What?
There was a star shower that I completely whiffed on.
Oh,
damn
you
it!
didn't come back the next day to get your stars?
No.
You can.
I remember,
always cheat. You can always go back in time.
I'm not Criken. I'm not a cheater.
Not a
No.
cheater.
I like how you guys have pinned me as the icon of a cheater in Animal Crossing when I literally have not done that since day one.
I know.
And everyone else I know.
Here's the thing.
Everyone else I know does it all the time.
Here's the thing. The only time, the time that it would benefit you the most to time travel is the very first day. It's the very first, and you did it.
I did because
cheated.
I was streaming it. The game just launched. Everyone's like, "Oh, I guess we're done." And I'm like, "Let's see what tomorrow looks like." And I stopped within 30 minutes afterwards.
If you stop
back,
within
watch the
30
VOD.
minutes of murdering somebody, you're still a murderer.
It's true, you're still
Okay.
a murderer. Look,
I
You
need
murdered
to
the
prove
integrity
myself
of
to
Animal
you.
Crossing.
My morality's intact. Okay, if you have issue with that, then I don't know.
Yeah,
Go
murderers
see
probably
a
think that they're
priest.
more
Yeah,
they're intact too.
sociopaths say the same thing. I'm just kidding. I know lots of people that are time traveling all the time, and every single day I am tempted. But what separates me from the animals is that I do not give in to my temptation. I'm able to control myself. Some call it self-control. Our Criken's not even listening. He's just
yeah, no, he's texting.
he's texting. He's probably thinking about time travel.
Bruce, you bring
I
up.
was, but I was also listening. I have 2 ears.
I have a deeply moral and troublingly philosophical question for both.
Absolutely.
This occurred to me while watching Clone Wars because I'm still in season 1, but really enjoying it. Is there some metric in the Star Wars universe, Bruce? Maybe this concerns you. Where an animal is deemed, or a species or a race or whatever is deemed sentient, and thus killing them is murder. Not only asking because of Episode 2 and all that, but like there are numerous species in Star Wars that can communicate, but maybe aren't intelligent enough for space travel or something like that. So at what point, if they attack you, is that considered like you're allowed to attack them back or kill them back?
Yeah.
Or when do you have to just be like, oh, they're just animals and that's just what they do? I don't know. Is there a grand moral council that decides when killing something is like you're just putting down an unruly animal, or you're actually killing something with sentience that has like life and reason and morality?
Well, I'm kind of confused by if they attack you, don't you have right to attack them back? Like, what is the?
I guess it's more in the context of like Jedi, and I guess they're not supposed to kill ever if they can avoid it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just more like I was more thinking like there were like I guess Tusken Raiders or Sand People
Yeah.
are one of them. There was also this other species that like could communicate but didn't have like a full language. But like, are you allowed to just sort of like if you wanted to? Because like if we want to like build houses somewhere, we don't give a shit. We just kick all the animals out and build houses there.
Yeah.
And some of them die and we don't care because we've just decided that humans kind of get to do whatever they want.
You know what? I think what the prequels were missing. Now that you mentioned that, similar to the whole mitochondrian reader thing, they need a sentience reader. Like they hold up a little beeper and they're like, this one is sufficiently wild. We can murder them without moral impetus. And they just go ham. Like if Anakin had that, there wouldn't have been a problem with the whole Tusken Raider thing.
Well,
it's just it's all you got to do is find that gray area that you're describing. Are you looking for examples?
Somebody in Lawrence's chat
yeah.
say apply the Harkness test.
What's the Harkness test?
I don't know. Somebody have to Google it. It's the Harkness test. It's Harkness. But I assume it's like the Turing test, where it's like discovering sentience for a robot, but discovering sentience for an animal. Either way, when the Empire's in charge, the Empire basically like puts anything into slavery except for humans. Just so you know, they hate everybody except for humans. But if the Republic is in charge, then yes, they probably have a test to determine whether or not a species is sentient, and can we kill them without feeling bad?
Or you just feel bad for a little bit, and then you give yourself permission to stop feeling bad.
What is the best gray area we can think of? I mean, droids for one. I think you can make a case for. Like, droids never really got good treatment in any Star Wars. It's really unclear if they are like free will acting or just purely, made to serve. Because you can wipe their memory and do whatever the hell you want with them. And they don't really go into that. They're just kind of like, that's just the way it is. Don't worry about it. I don't know. Next to that, I for some reason I think of that little like performing thing in Jabba's palace. Like the little rat.
It's all Salacious Crumb.
Oh,
He eats those guys.
Oh no, not Salacious Crumb.
Yeah.
Not Salacious Crumb.
Oh, the little like frog boys that are in the
it's
little
the
bubbly
frog
container.
boy.
And because in the Mandalorian, remember the guys that got eaten? It was those guys. It was the little rat boys. They were like, "Oh no, I'm next. They're gonna eat me."
Yeah.
And they're like showing them like roasting one. Those guys are totally capable of speech and like everything.
That's true.
Those little guys are probably as smart as us, and just because they're small, they got to eat all the time.
Well,
Well, I think the Hutts are obviously not of questionable morality, so it makes sense that they may eat living sentient creatures.
But
The Harkness test, has been spelled out, but sorry about that.
in the Mandalorian, wasn't there also just like random people eating them too? It wasn't just Hutts. It was like villagers.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, it was like
you're
a
right.
trade thing. They're just trading, roasted burrito or I don't know what his name was.
well,
And the Ewoks wanted to eat people.
They
Is
did?
it?
yeah, they ate
Yeah, they
stormtroopers.
were going to roast.
Yeah, they ate stormtroopers. Yeah,
They did?
Yes,
When?
when they killed them.
So
Remember
so
that.
well, yeah, no, and really the events of Return of the Jedi are very troubling because it was only by impersonating a deity that the Ewoks. Well, I guess they also wanted to defend their planet.
Oh shit! You're right.
But if you think about it from the terms of the Empire, here is a feral race that eats humans, but they still communicate. But they're depicted as being, not spacefaring or of galactic space. Oh
know,
my
that
God!
sucks.
Sorry, some dude knocked his ass out trying to toss a keg
Come
over.
on, he almost made it.
Ivar.
That sucks.
I hate. Ooh, to the back of the head too. Oh my God. Anyway, can you kill Ewoks or not? I guess what it comes
Yes.
down to.
I mean,
'Cause-
I vote yeah.
Yeah,
If they're
you can.
coming to eat you,
Well,
you can
they-
definitely kill them.
And they absolutely can speak with each other, and they've built a society.
sing.
They built a society.
yeah,
They
they play
sing.
music. They have culture.
They definitely sing. So yes, you can kill an Ewok if you want to. That said, though,
Okay.
I don't know that you should kill an Ewok because they're good. They are not evil.
Are they, though?
They are absolutely they are.
They're cannibals.
They were well. They're not cannibals because they're eating
Okay,
something
we don't
else.
know, yeah.
They're eating something else.
Okay, but they're potentially hostile indigenous tribe.
They're hostile to people that were invading their planet.
Right, but was Han and whoever invading originally? They just kind of popped in.
I mean, well, we're not talking about Han and Leia, Han, Luke, and Leia, because they're good. We're talking.
You saying they didn't eat them because they're good?
Yes.
The Ewoks don't have an idea of good. They were, like Lawrence said, they were tricked into thinking they were deities.
They know good and evil.
And that,
I say that. I say the Ewoks know good and evil.
So really,
Lawrence doesn't believe that.
the Ewoks wanted it to Leia because she gave them something to eat, right? Which kind of implies they're kind of like wolves or dogs in terms of how they regard people.
And Han is questionably good.
Yeah, he's a
Not
bit of a
by the end of
scoundrel,
Return of
but-
the Jedi. What are you talking about?
He shot first.
That was in A New Hope.
Same Han.
He had been.
What, you think?
He had been redeemed.
Oh, he learned, and so the murder doesn't count.
He had been redeemed because.
Because of what? What redeemed his murder?
Well, for saving Luke.
Yeah, he came back at the end of
The Death Star.
New
At
Hope.
the Death Star, yeah.
And that wiped the slate clean of McClunky?
Yes.
He killed McClunky, dude.
Its name's not McClunky.
He says McClunky.
Yeah,
though.
he does say it, but that's a word in Rhodian.
McClunky! Oh, if you're so smart, what does McClunky mean in Rhodian, Bruce?
I actually don't know offhand, but if you Google it, you'll find out. It's
So why would he say his own name to someone?
yeah, it's not his name.
That's what Pokemon do.
I can't argue with that.
But it's not.
McClunky meaning.
It's not a Pokemon.
Translated, this will be the end of you. Also, the word McClunky, it was used by Sebulba.
Oh, that's
Really?
that's stupid.
McClunky means this will be the end of you. That's dumb.
Yeah, that's really dumb. It's really
McClunky!
it's the dumbest thing in the world.
It's a threat.
I remember when I saw that because people were like tweeting about how they added McClunky to it, and I was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck is McClunky?" And then I went and watched it, and I went, "Are you shitting me? How did they add this to a fucking classic film?" They added the word McClunky.
McClunky.
Oh, gosh. That kills me. Why do they keep ruining the movie I love?
Wait, Bruce, have you played Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes, I have, but it was many, many years ago.
All right, you got to stream it again because the alien dialogue of all aliens really in that game is like equally meme worthy. It is so good.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, you would love this game if you play it again.
All right, I will. We've been playing Star Wars: The Old Republic too. Lawrence, Rahul, Jacob, and I.
Oh really?
And it's really like I like that game.
Is it good?
I mean, I don't know about good. It is fun with friends. I enjoy it with friends. And I enjoyed it when I played it on my own years ago when it came out. But I don't know that it's Lawrence. What do you? I don't think it's good.
It's old, so it's unfair to judge it by what we've been playing so far because we're playing like launch content. Once we get into the newer expansions, I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. But yeah, right now, it's a World of Warcraft reskin, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because does it have Star Wars all over the place.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's not. I don't know that it's worth getting back into or anything, but it is fun to play and make fun of with friends.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Speaking of old things, don't let me PM too much all over this place. Do you guys have strong feelings about? Well, let's see here. We got a couple of old games popping back up. There's the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater thing, and then Halo 2 Anniversary.
And
also,
the
you want to talk
Culling.
about? Yes, please talk about the Culling.
Culling. Let's
I'm
talk about the
excited to
Culling.
hear
Yeah,
about
because I don't know what this is.
I was waiting for this. All right, let's break it open. So some of you may have heard that the Culling is coming back after many sleepless nights of us waiting for that game to resurface again.
I loved that game, by the way, when it first came out. I was a big fan.
Right.
I played a ton of it.
It was a good game when it first launched. And then I think riding off of the high of being one of the first successful Battle Royale titles, the studio was like, oh my God, let's make another one for some reason. And so they, within I think a couple months of the first Culling being released in early access, they pivoted and said, all right, here's the Culling 2, where we removed all of the iconic features such as the melee combat of the Culling 1 and made it more like PUBG. Because that's what sells, right?
Got it.
And everyone's like, why did you do this? And then the Culling 2 flopped and they ended up canceling it. I think one of the fastest games to be canceled after release ever. And then that retroactively, I think, screwed over the first one. And then they re-released the first one as a free-to-play with a whole new model around microtransactions. And skins and perks and classes.
This sounds like my kind of game. Let's play it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that one flopped and got canceled.
Okay, all right.
So then there was no Culling, and everyone's like, all right, good riddance. They boffed that one. It went until now, Bruce, until yesterday.
Uh-huh.
And then, thank the Lord, the studio behind the Culling made a video, and they said, look, we've been getting DMs the last 3 years about when are you bringing the Culling back, and they're like, you know what, boy, have I got good news for you. We're bringing it back now. The Culling Origins. It's not a new game. They're remaking the old one, but with a twist. The twist is it costs $5 now if instead of free, unless you bought it before for the $30. Or you played it when it was free to play.
Sure, got it.
Then you already own it.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
I'm in. Let's play.
Well, okay. We could play for maybe 10 minutes. Because...
Wait, why?
The only rule of it is everyone that owns the game gets one match per day.
Wait. Hold on. What do you mean one match?
You could play one online match a day.
What? Is that Battle Royale? Are we talking a Battle Royale match?
Yes. A Battle Royale match.
How long does that last?
If you die right away, then a minute.
That's it. Okay, you're done.
Then you're done for the day.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when I want to play again?
Well, you have to win, Bruce. If you win,
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you're good, okay, you'll get a win, which will give you a token,
okay,
which you can use to play another match.
Wait. So what happens? Wait, hold on a minute. So there's 100 people, and if I'm the one out of 100 that wins, I get a token to play again.
You get to play a whole nother match.
Wait. What about if I'm one of the 99 that lost?
Then you come back tomorrow, or that's not all, Bruce.
Uh-huh.
If you really want to play more, what you could just pay $5 and you'll get like 10 tokens, and you get 10 days of playing the game.
Wait, 10 days or 10 matches?
10 games.
10 matches. 10 matches.
Oh.
Oh, no, wait. So only 10 matches for $5?
Each token is a match. I forget. There's a graphic we can pull up of all of the breakdown, but it's something like $1 gets you like 3 matches, 3 tokens.
Okay.
$5 gets you like 10 matches, and then you can pay like $10 for a whole like month of matches, or like it's subscription pay to play of a game that historically has struggled to hold a player base, even when it was free to play. This is what is shocking to me, is like I think if you look on Steam right now, I want to see concurrent players.
Culling players?
The Culling. I believe they had an all-time high over the last 2 days of 6 people. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, there's 3 people that played an hour ago. And then over the course of the last day of the launch, 6 people played under this new model that they just announced.
But they're growing though, right? That's on the upswing?
I mean, if you waited in a lobby all day, you might, and everyone else, no, you would still need
Yeah, it's a lot more, 94 people.
like 30 times the people. Yeah. I don't know. There's no words.
What possessed this developer?
It's the single biggest blunder I've ever seen in regards to like a marketing strategy. And unless this is like their plan was to like do this bullshit, get all the press, and then step it back to free to play again, but like they've already fucked up 4 times.
Yeah.
No one trusts them. Why would they start with this again?
Let me throw out an idea.
Yeah, hit it.
Would that model be awesome if, like, let's say to play a game is 50 cents. You get 100 people in there. That's some impossible level of math that I don't think any living human could just compute on their own.
It's $50.
Yeah, it's impossible. So let's say that. What if they took in that money and then like 90% of it got paid out to first, and second, and third place?
Oh, okay.
Would that be an interesting model? I don't know like what the legality of that is.
We're gambling.
It's a game of skill, not a game of chance. It's kind of like running a tournament or something like that. I know a lot of fighting game tournaments.
Yeah, no, it's true. Hackers would eviscerate.
Oh, well, yeah, there's cheaters for sure. Is there anything that happens like that, like in a video game? I know there was like 1 versus 100 way back in the day where you could like win. Or what was the app that everybody used for like 2 weeks and then you never heard from again?
Oh, the trivia one, right?
Oh, yeah.
What was the name of that trivia app?
God, remember that shit?
Well, it was supported by a guy who was like supporting Donald Trump or something, and everybody backed off of it.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
HQ, that's
HQ.
what it was. There we go.
Yeah. Did anyone actually get paid out of that? Because it was
Yeah.
People
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely.
I remember it was pretty brilliant where you would play and they would only pay you out if you got a certain minimum, which meant that it was nearly impossible to hit that minimum. You'd have to play like all the time to even get a payout, which I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Okay. Anyway, I would a model like that be interesting to you guys, where you have to like put in a trivial amount of money, but if you win, you could actually win cash money?
I think
I don't really want that out of a game. I think that to me is more like a poker, gambling, Vegas sort of activity.
it sounds to me like that's an interesting mechanic, and I would kind of like go interesting, but this mechanic that they've actually put forth is just downright scummy, because I'm trying to figure out what would possess somebody to try this. Like maybe they're just like, well, we fucked up so many times now that we have to try something so groundbreaking and radical that maybe it'll catch. Like maybe all of a sudden it'll catch and go viral.
That's the only way they got investment money. They were
I was talking to my friends about this actually, because the thing that's shocking to me is that the studio still exists to go around for like a round 4 on this, and that they're still trying after like 3 abject failures that have gone down in gaming history as like some of the worst flops of a title launch. And I think it's just because their original game launch was so successful that you can make a killer deck with that. Like, you go to an investor and you're like, look, when we launch this game, here's all the people we got. You know, this genre is now Fortnite. Like, you know, it's so easy to spin this as we are the grandfathers of the battle royale genre. So give us your money and we'll do it again. And like, suckers will believe that, and then they'll buy into it, and they end up like, because I mean, okay, if they use the same numbers they got for the original Culling, right, the same concurrent players, all that sort of stuff, and they applied it to this new monetization model, which I guarantee you they've done some mapping out of what it could theoretically pay out if their numbers were equivalent to what they were starting out with.
Right.
I'm sure they're making boatloads of money, and they go to an investor and they're like, you give us this money, we'll give you back this insane payout for any game. Nothing makes this much money per user as we could with this heinous market like monetization system. And they're like, okay, you guys seem to know what you're doing for some reason. And then they just did it. And oh God, it's like, I don't know, man. I try not to shit on companies or like business decisions, because I think everyone's just trying, like, doing their best for the most part, and like there's a lot of learning to be had. But by God, sometimes decisions are made that you just can't fathom how they happen.
I just think it was. I think it was just a bunch of people being like, if this hits, if we get it right and people like it, it's going to be massive. We're going to make billions of dollars. So they had to try, and because like they tried everything else that, like, I guess regular gamers knew, and it didn't work. They kept failing. So then they're like, all right, something entirely new and different, go. And then they wrote a bunch of ideas on a whiteboard, and somebody was like, because Lawrence is onto it, I think. If they do cash prizes, then you might have something, maybe, you know?
I think that bites off kind of to Criken's point about cheating, and who even knows how you regulate that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
I think right away be banned in all of Europe, because they have a lot of laws against gambling and
it wouldn't be gambling.
Winning money.
It's a game of skill.
Well, their version of gambling is a lot more broad, and it's caused a lot of trouble for like loot boxes, for example, right? Are like being cracked down upon over there. So I don't think that would fly just kind of legally. But I don't know. It's just, to me, if they looked objectively at what caused their other games to fail, and then doubled down on what caused it to fail, we'd get what they just put out now. Like, instead of pivoting and saying, oh, we learned our lesson, here's, we're finally like listening to you guys. It's, just a shameless dragging across the coals of commerce.
It really is. It really is. I don't know. I wonder how big does anybody know how big the Culling Studios is, or like whoever's publishing and making this game?
I know the studio name.
Because it's got to be what, like maybe 30, 40 people? And then there's probably like a room full of 10 people that made this decision, and I can't believe they're still even allowed to get money from investors to make this game. It's blowing my mind, because the Culling was such a great idea initially. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Just totally fucked it up. I don't know. But speaking of which, I am announcing that my streams will now be. You have to pay 50 cents to watch 1 hour.
Every 5? Oh, I was going to say 5 minutes.
Well, that first hour should be free. No. Also, Bruce, I did this bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did it last night. You did it last night.
I told you I did this.
I know.
Bit,
I completely forgot. I completely forgot.
Ripped me off.
I didn't rip you off. I don't even know what you did. All right, I wasn't watching. I don't care.
I mean, is that even a joke though? Because you can literally do that on Twitch. You can just do sub-only streams.
That's true.
Yeah, first hour is free, and then
I think it's like 5.
Bye, and you just turn on the sub.
I mean, even if you do a sub-only stream, there's like a window where people can watch for free, and then a little window pops up being like, "Okay, you're done. You want to pay or not?"
Yeah.
Which, if you think about any stream, man, to make a purchasing decision after like 5 minutes, sounds like the most asinine thing.
It really does.
I know that it's supposed to be for super high production things, that if you watch a little bit, you're just so blown away.
But yeah, Twitch hasn't really there's not really a market for that on Twitch right now.
I've seen a little bit of it. I mean, this is
Really?
maybe more in my particular wheelhouse. Yeah, I've seen a lot of like DJs and music producers coming to Twitch to do their sets and things like that. And I could see if a DJ had like a really good set for like 2 hours or something like that, and you listen to 5 minutes of it, and you're like, yeah, those jams, I'll sub to this.
Totally.
Or you'll drop a Prime sub or something like that.
Yeah.
That's I like that in theory. Audience discoverability is gonna be really hard when you can't just link something and watch it.
Yeah. And the thing that the thing that I figured out just experimenting with sub-only streams is it craters your average weekly viewers.
Right.
Oh,
Which has implications in other ways.
Yeah,
So
it's weird that Twitch cares a lot about that number, but also releases a system that like gimps that number, and then is like, they should be able to compartmentalize, but I don't know, it's weird.
it would be nice. Yeah, because I remember talking to a few PR agents and stuff like that, negotiating like sponsor deals. And they would give me a rate based on my average viewers, and be like, well, hold on. Like, those average viewers are complicated because of blah, blah. And they were like, well, whatever, here's your rate.
Matter,
and that was it.
That doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, they obviously, I understand they don't have the time to, like, consider multi-tiers of analytics or whatever. They just go to a website and whatever number it spits out, that's what they use. Because I'm one of, like, 400 people that they're talking to.
I noticed that Kitsune in my chat just gave me 100 bits and said, here's the payment. So Kitsune is allowed to continue watching, but the rest of you are not. So I just want to make sure that...
Goodbye, everyone. That isn't Kitsune. Please, thank you for coming by.
Everybody's aware. I mean, like, I was talking with Sark about this the other day, because Sark was like, he's like, man, I love watching these clips of streamers begging their audience, where they're like, or not even begging, they're more like, guys, you know that in order for me to play Call of Duty, somebody has to donate $10 or I will not play Call of Duty.
Getting really indignant about it.
Yeah, and
or making ultimatatimes with their audience.
And
That's
and all their audience is like, well, all right, peace, later, man. And I forget, it was one of them was Wings of Redemption. It was just like, just shut it. He was like, that's it, I'm done, I'm good. And it blew my mind. And it was the same with, was it Invader V? Invader V just did the same thing where she was like, guys, $5 is not that much. $5, like, you're just sitting there watching Twitch, and you know what? You could have been out there making money, and you should just be giving me the $5 because it's nothing. You can't even buy a meal for $5. And it blew my mind that people could. I just can't believe that people could do that. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, not that I'm ascribing too much intent or mastermindery behind it, but something that I think a lot about is for people who are trying to grow their base or whatever. You don't kind of, Criken, to your point about discoverability, you're never going to get seen if you're just another dude playing Call of Duty. So it makes sense to me that after 2 years of playing COD for like 15 people, that eventually I feel like you get there by steps of getting increasingly frustrated. That one, the audience that is watching you all the time isn't financially supporting you, or that you're not growing. So, I mean, that's one way. That's one way to get your name out there.
That's true.
Is to get out on the top of live stream fail.
That's a good point.
I wonder about that. I feel like we're going to see more and more people acting out
that's
kind of
already
draw
been a
attention to
thing,
them.
unfortunately, I think, for like the last couple of years. Is
Oh, really?
luckily not as prevalent as it could be, but you're right, it could always get worse. So
No, Lawrence is. I mean, you might be right, Lawrence. It's like that, and then at that point, you're risking your reputation online and probably the next year of your life for people remembering what you did. I mean, I also saw somebody in my chat, Kitsune, was like, when we were talking about the culling, they were like, hey, I got an idea. Let's start a website where we sell CS:GO skins, but I own that website, and then I take a piece of it, and then I'll show it on stream and show you guys how to use the website. That happened years ago. That was was it T Martin and Syndicate, I think it was, and like that blew my mind, and people right away forgot about it. Didn't matter. Like they moved on. Everything was fine. So
well, and also their demographic was largely underage or significantly underage, and they willingly did not disclose their connections. I think the other part is they manipulated the odds to show themselves winning, and then they were.
That's the real heinous stuff, in my opinion.
Oh, totally, yeah.
I mean, oh god.
Yeah, and then also like knowingly advertised those services to an audience that it could be partially underage. There's many layers of that are excessively scummy. But you're right, it blew over really quickly. It's amazing what online creators can. I guess it's, what is it, hyper-normalization? That's just kind of where we are now. There's so much insane shit happening every day that you really don't have the time to worry about some dude hawking gambling services to children anymore.
I mean, it just kind of blew my mind. But I mean, hey, you know what? Hey, if they're sorry and they moved on and they've never done it again, okay, I get it. I guess it could have been an honest mistake. They could have gotten bilked by. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know the story. So it was one of those things where, after a few weeks it blows over and they moved on. So and Invader V, I'm sure Invader V's viewers are through the roof right now. Everybody's watching to see what you'll say, and I don't know how long that'll last, but I guess it probably worked, like Lawrence said. So
maybe. I do think that, like, if enough people do it, it loses its traction. Mm-hmm. It's like you got to laugh at this one person today on Livestream Fail, and then tomorrow there's someone else, and then it just becomes a war, like a race to the bottom sort of negative behavior. I feel like Logan Paul was sort of the child of YouTube in that regard. Of a bunch of people, like all the like kissing pranks that fucking teens would do. Oh no, sorry. Watching a video of some dude.
He almost made it.
Yeah, wiping out on a motorcycle. I feel like I'm curious where Twitch will go because, you know, it's crowded. It's getting more crowded, especially Corona and everything like that. So it's the fight for slices of the Twitch pie is going to get more intense, and people are going to push the limits as far as they can just to attract attention. So I'm kind of perversely curious about what that's going to look like.
I'm gonna set up a gameplay with you guys later this week in the Culling. If you guys want to play with me at 50 cents a pop, come on, Criken.
I was actually considering. That'd be funny to stream one game and then end stream.
We should once we run out of tokens, we just stop.
I mean, we get one token. It's not that we run out of tokens. We all get one. We get one game, and we get to play for the 5 minutes that takes, and then it's over. So,
you know what? Maybe I'll try.
I don't really want to.
Maybe I'll try.
I don't want to give them the attention.
I don't either.
Let me sweeten the pot a little bit.
Okay, all right,
gentlemen.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Culling stream, sub only stream?
Oh, let's just shoot all of our collective selves in the foot.
So people got to sub to watch that 25-minute stream.
Wait a minute,
and then we're done.
I just had a better idea. How about, a la Wings of Redemption, we play the Culling, but our viewers have to pay for our tokens. So then if we lose tokens...
we keep playing as long as we're getting paid for?
As long as they give us 50 bits, or whatever it is, 50 cents.
No, because then we're paying the Culling studio, and I don't want that.
But only like $5. Is that too much?
I mean,
you're afraid they might be able to buy a cup of coffee?
I don't want to give them any good idea. And then, like, next thing we know, an article, top streamers, like, already loving our new monetization system. Look at all the, the viewers paying for them to keep going. This is the perfect setup. We've set up a new way now so they can pay directly into your game wallet. Like, it's... I'm not going to be a part of that.
Yeah. Damn it, Criken's right. Fuck. Criken's right, but I would love to try that. I would love to see, because I mean, like Lawrence says, like, you make maybe $5, $6, but I think it'd be funny if nobody would pay you the 50 cents to keep playing the Culling and you had to stop. I think that would be funny.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Right? It would be great.
It would.
But Criken won't do it. I understand why. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Stupid principles.
Makes sense, Criken.
Criken, what if let's say there's another reality where the Culling on your channel gets, in its current form, gets so popular that merely by streaming it once a week, you have the financial freedom to do whatever you want the rest of the time. Would you do it, or would you be so morally opposed that you would not support or plug that game at all?
It's a hard world to imagine. I think I would do it while making fun of it, like I always kind of do, and then tell people I don't really like the game. It would be kind of a sad stream.
You would stream it. The audience would be throwing mountains of cash at you.
I would be confused, I think, is the answer. I would be very confused as to why this game, out of all games, which I would probably argue to be the least entertaining of the content that I put out, to be the one that elicits financial success. And then I would question the judgment of every viewer, and that would only make them support more.
Well, this is going to get you to the top of live stream fail. Yeah, you're going to be screaming at your viewers, telling them to stop watching you and telling them that they're trash and have bad taste. And meanwhile, you're going to get elevated.
Again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And you're gonna.
It's going to be like that restaurant. People are going to show up to get insulted by you.
Well, I may have to get off and do some prep for my next stream. Thank you, Lawrence.
No problem.
It's a great idea.
Is it the Culling?
I'm a big idea guy.
Is it the Culling 2? What is it? The Culling?
No, it's the Culling Origins. I don't know. It might just be the Culling. I don't know how they're. I have no idea how it's even listed. I saw Origins under the icon.
Sigh.
Somebody gave Lawrence 100 bits to not play the Culling, which
well, that's a thing too, I guess.
I mean, it's in the balances now, though. If somebody gives me 100 bits to play the culling, that just gets us back to 0, where I am playing the culling. So
right. That makes sense.
you guys have to fight with each other. This is my grand plan. As much as in weeks past, I talked about how I do like to incite antagonism and conflict with all of my friendly relationships in life. Mm-hmm. I also need every single viewer I have to fight with each other in money for issues that don't concern me at all. So I need people to donate a lot to play the culling, and then also donate a lot to not play the culling, and then I will arbitrarily decide when it's neuralized itself out, and I don't have to do either one.
That makes sense. It sounds like.
So if you guys could start cheering, that would be great.
I've started a website where I'm going to sell Valorant skins, and
does Valorant even have skins yet?
It does have skins, yeah, but I don't know that you can.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have a market that I don't think you can sell on them like CS:GO does, but
Not yet.
Not yet, but it will.
It's been amazing seeing people like spool up all of this support for Valorant, because I can tell, like, especially in like the esports commentary community and stuff like that, everyone's trying to like land rush and like plant the flag in the ground early, just because everyone expects it to be a big thing. It's interesting how self-guided engines can kind of work that way. How people who are desperate to make a name, and maybe I shouldn't characterize it that way, but people who really hope that this is the next big thing try to they announce whole shows with all branding and like weekly production cycles, and it's like, it's in beta, come on. But yeah, it's fun to see how people, I guess, really want to build their empires on the next big thing. I guess that's a better plan than doing nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's always that's what television shows do. That's how they prep. They spend millions of dollars on crew and writing and acting and production and all other stuff, and then they hope that it'll do well. It's very weird. It's the same with movies. Movies you spend $100 million on, and you're hoping that the movie's gonna.
Are you saying everything is a gamble?
I'm saying basically everything is a gamble, unless you're Criken and you play the culling on your stream coming up later. Then it's
money guaranteed profit.
Guaranteed profit. Speaking of which, we've reached the end of the podcast.
That's why I'm yawning.
So we want to say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
By the way, here's the intro. Talk to the internet number 28. There we go. I forgot.
Got it.
Oh, thank God. We almost missed it.
I got it in.
It's funny. This morning I was doing some house chores, and I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna do the intro today. I'm just gonna get in there and I'm gonna do it. And then I just didn't at all.
Oh,
not even a little bit.
All right. I forgot to. So welcome to Talk to the internet number 28. Okay, bye YouTube.
Bye YouTube.